The sky above Earth shimmered with unusual colors that no human had ever seen. At first, people thought it was a strange aurora, something natural, but soon the truth became impossible to ignore. Massive ships, silver and glowing, descended from the clouds, hovering silently over major cities. Panic spread like wildfire. Governments scrambled to understand what was happening, and military forces were put on high alert. Among the chaos, Captain Laura Hayes stood on the roof of her research facility. She had spent years studying alien life, and now her theories were no longer speculation. They were reality. "They're here," she whispered, watching the enormous ships reflect the light of the rising sun. She could feel both excitement and fear in her chest. Humanity had always wondered what else existed in the universe. Now the universe had come to them. The ships did not attack. Instead, massive doors opened and smaller craft descended toward the ground. They moved with precision, as if every motion had been calculated long before their arrival. And then the aliens appeared. They were taller than any human, with smooth iridescent skin that changed color slightly depending on the light. Their eyes were large and dark, observing everything around them with a curious intensity. The first humans to meet them were scientists, politicians, and military leaders. Everyone was on edge. The aliens did not speak in words humans could understand. Instead, they emitted musical tones and pulses of light from their bodies. A translator device quickly set up by human engineers allowed some basic communication. "We are observers," the translator announced in a robotic voice. "We wish to study. Compliance will ensure safety. Resistance will have consequences." The words were chilling, yet the tone was calm. It was clear the aliens saw themselves as superior, as beings who did not need to explain themselves further. Some human leaders whispered among themselves, wondering if they were being treated like children or worse. Captain Hayes was summoned to the command tent set up for negotiations. Alongside her were diplomats and other scientists. Their mission was simple yet terrifying: understand these visitors and protect humanity. The aliens had made it clear. They were interested in studying humans, in observing their behavior, biology, and society. From the very first meeting, humans sensed a condescending undertone. The aliens seemed to expect obedience, expecting humans to act as subjects as if they were pets in some strange experiment. But humanity had never been obedient to anyone for long. There was resistance in the eyes of every person in that tent, a spark that the aliens could not immediately suppress. Days passed, and the aliens began setting up facilities for observation. Large structures appeared in isolated areas where selected humans were taken for study. These areas were surrounded by energy barriers, and humans who entered were monitored constantly. It was not cruel, at least not physically, but the lack of freedom was unmistakable. Humans felt trapped, their lives suddenly controlled by beings they did not understand. Captain Hayes was assigned to observe these interactions. She walked through the observation facility, watching aliens record data with devices that seemed impossibly advanced. She noticed how the aliens marveled at human creativity, the ability to solve problems, to improvise, to express emotions through art and music. For the first time, she realized that these beings, despite their superiority, were genuinely curious. But curiosity, she knew, could become dangerous if it was not balanced with respect. One evening, as the sky turned orange with the setting sun, a small group of humans gathered secretly in one of the observation areas. They whispered plans to resist, to show the aliens that humans were not creatures to be studied like lab subjects. Among them was a young engineer named Alex. He had managed to hack into one of the alien observation drones, learning that the aliens underestimated human intelligence. "We can't fight them directly," Alex said quietly, "but we can show them we're not their pets. We have to make them respect us." Captain Hayes listened and nodded. She knew the path ahead was dangerous. The aliens had power far beyond anything humans could match. But humans had something they could never fully understand or measure: ingenuity, courage, and the refusal to be dominated. Meanwhile, the aliens began discussing their observations among themselves. They had expected humans to be simple, obedient, and easy to control. But they were wrong. Humans challenged their assumptions constantly. A single human could solve problems in ways that confused an entire team of alien scientists. The aliens were intrigued but also frustrated. This was not what they had planned. Tensions escalated when a group of humans managed to free a companion from one of the observation facilities. Using their knowledge of alien technology, they disabled energy barriers and escaped, leaving the aliens stunned. It was the first act of rebellion, small but significant. Human ingenuity had proven that even the most advanced alien technology could be challenged. Captain Hayes addressed the human leaders soon after the escape. "This is only the beginning," she said. "They may be powerful, but they are not infallible. If we work together, we can negotiate, we can resist, and we can ensure that humanity remains free." As she spoke, a message came from the alien leaders. It was brief, almost casual, but carried weight. Resistance noted. "We expected obedience. Your species is unexpected." The word sent a shiver through everyone in the room. For the first time, the aliens admitted something. Humans were different, unpredictable, and perhaps in some way remarkable. It was the first crack in the aliens' facade of superiority. The story of the first days of contact ended with a mixture of fear and hope. Humans knew they were facing an unprecedented challenge. The aliens were powerful, technologically advanced, and curious, but humans had qualities the aliens could not anticipate. Creativity, courage, empathy, and the unyielding desire for freedom were strengths that no alien technology could suppress. Captain Hayes stood on the roof again, looking at the alien ships hovering silently above. She felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "We're not their pets," she whispered to herself, "and we never will be." Below, in the heart of the city, humans began organizing quietly. They were scientists, engineers, teachers, soldiers, ordinary people who refused to accept extraordinary oppression. Each act of defiance, no matter how small, was a reminder that humanity was resilient, unpredictable, and united in ways that the aliens could not fully understand. And somewhere aboard the alien flagship, the commanders watched closely. They were beginning to realize that studying humans as mere subjects might not be possible. The creatures they thought would submit were already teaching them a lesson. Never underestimate the spirit of a human. The first part of the story ended with a tense promise. Humanity had survived the first contact. Now the real challenge was beginning. Showing the universe that humans could not be controlled, that their value was far greater than the aliens' expectations, and that perhaps one day, even the most powerful alien species might have to ask humanity for peace. The morning sun cast a pale light across the city, but the human leaders were too focused to notice it. The alien ship still hovered above, silent and enormous, a constant reminder of the strange beings who had suddenly appeared in their world. The humans were no longer merely observing. They were learning, planning, and preparing. Captain Laura Hayes paced in the conference room, reviewing reports with the other leaders. "This is different from what we expected," she said, frowning. "They wanted to study us like we were pets. But they didn't anticipate our unpredictability. Every small action we take seems to confuse them." A young engineer named Alex leaned forward, his fingers tapping a tablet. "We can use that confusion. Their technology is advanced, yes, but it's rigid. They follow rules and patterns. Humans, we don't, we improvise. That's something they can't calculate." Across the room, diplomats nodded quietly. They understood the risks. Any mistake could provoke the aliens into retaliation, but the opportunity was clear. Humans had a chance to show that they were not simple creatures to be dominated. Meanwhile, in one of the observation facilities set up by the aliens, a small group of humans was being monitored closely. The aliens had expected compliance, but instead they saw defiance, creativity, and intelligence. One human had already figured out how to manipulate the monitoring devices, sending false signals to confuse the aliens. Another had designed a way to communicate secretly with allies outside the facility. The aliens observed this with a mixture of fascination and frustration. Their initial assessments had been wrong. Humans were not predictable. They were not obedient. They had ingenuity, teamwork, and a stubborn courage that the aliens could not fully understand. Captain Hayes visited the observation facility that afternoon. She walked quietly among the humans, speaking words of encouragement. "Keep doing what you're doing," she said. "They think they understand us, but they don't. Every small action, every clever move is proof that we cannot be controlled." A young woman named Maya smiled slightly. "Do you really think they'll ever treat us as equals?" she asked. Laura hesitated. "I don't know," she admitted. "But right now, We have the power to change their perception. That is enough for today." Outside the facility, the aliens convened in a chamber aboard one of their ships. High-ranking commanders spoke in their tonal language, their voices a mixture of music and resonance. The translator allowed humans to understand a few phrases, but much of the conversation remained mysterious. "They are unpredictable," one commander said finally. "They do not follow patterns. Each individual acts differently. Our models fail to predict them." Another responded almost thoughtfully, "They are fascinating. We intended to study pets, but these creatures are teaching us something we did not expect. Perhaps our approach is flawed." Back on Earth, humans began organizing quietly but efficiently. They were not planning rebellion in the sense of violent uprising, but they were determined to demonstrate that they could not be controlled. Small teams worked on projects that used alien technology to human advantage. They hacked surveillance drones, repaired alien equipment to understand it, and tested ways to communicate undetected across the observation zones. Captain Hayes coordinated these efforts, understanding that each success, no matter how minor, built confidence among humans and unease among aliens. In one operation, a team of engineers disabled a drone monitoring a research site. The drone, confused by human intervention, transmitted distorted signals back to the alien ship. The commanders were alarmed. They had never anticipated such adaptability. "It's remarkable," the alien commander said to another. "They solve problems we cannot predict. Perhaps they are not suitable for study as we planned." Humans also learned to use their environment creatively. One group discovered that certain plants emitted a frequency that interfered with alien sensors. Another found that human humor, unexpected jokes, strange behavior, and improvisation could confuse the aliens' emotional analysis devices. While these actions were small, they made the humans realize something crucial. They had power not just through technology, but through their very nature. One evening, as the sun set in a streak of red and orange, Captain Hayes gathered the human leaders. "We are not fighting them with weapons," she said. "We are fighting them with who we are. Intelligence, adaptability, courage, and cooperation. These are our greatest tools." They expected obedience. "We give them resistance, and resistance they do not understand." Alex nodded, eyes shining with determination. "It's working," he said. "Every time they try to predict us, they fail. They are starting to see that humans are different. Dangerous, maybe, but in a way they cannot calculate." The aliens, on the other hand, grew increasingly unsettled. In one private chamber, an alien commander studied human behavior carefully. Patterns emerged, but they were not predictable in the traditional sense. Humans learned, adapted, and even used mistakes to their advantage. This was a concept foreign to the aliens, whose species valued perfection and precision. "They do not fear us as they should," the commander admitted. "They are not subservient. Perhaps they should be allies instead of subjects." Not all aliens agreed. Some still saw humans as experimental subjects, but even they could not deny the intelligence and courage humans displayed. They were beginning to question their original plans. The tension escalated when a small group of humans carried out a bold operation to rescue one of their own from the observation facility. Using tools and knowledge gleaned from their earlier experiments with alien technology, they disabled energy barriers and guided their companion to safety. No human was harmed, and the aliens were caught completely off guard. Captain Hayes received the escaping humans and congratulated them. "This proves what we already knew," she said. "We are not their pets. We are humans, and we cannot be controlled." The aliens, watching the escape unfold through their sensors, were silent for long moments. This was not an expected outcome. The humans had acted in a coordinated, intelligent manner, demonstrating courage and ingenuity. Some of the alien commanders began to reconsider their strategy entirely. Later that night, Captain Hayes stood on the rooftop of the research facility, looking at the alien ships hovering silently in the sky. She felt a mixture of pride and concern. Humanity had survived the first phase of contact. They had demonstrated their resilience, intelligence, and refusal to be dominated. But the aliens were powerful, and the next phase of interaction could be dangerous. Below, humans continued their quiet preparations. Engineers, scientists, and volunteers worked in teams, always careful to avoid direct confrontation, but always ready to prove their worth. Every action, every clever solution, and every act of courage sent a message. Humans were not to be underestimated. Somewhere aboard the alien flagship, high-ranking commanders convened again. They had initially planned to treat humans as experimental subjects controlled and observed. But the humans' unexpected behavior had forced a reconsideration. Perhaps the time had come for negotiation rather than domination. Perhaps these creatures, strange, unpredictable, and courageous, deserved recognition as equals. The aliens decided to watch more carefully, to study the humans not as pets but as potential allies or adversaries. The first stage of observation had ended in failure for the aliens. Humans had not submitted, and they had made their intelligence and courage clear. Captain Hayes, standing under the night sky, felt a surge of hope. Humanity had survived the first contact. They had proven themselves capable of resisting control and had made a mark on the alien perception. The real test was still ahead, but for the first time it seemed possible that humans could negotiate from a position of respect, not fear. The night ended with a quiet promise. Humanity had shown it would not be enslaved or reduced to simple subjects. And somewhere in the alien command chambers the words were spoken, translated into human language. We underestimated them. We will need to rethink our approach. The story of the first contact had shifted. Humans had survived intimidation, confusion, and alien observation. They had shown that they were not just clever. They were resilient, creative, and courageous. And as dawn approached, Captain Hayes and her team knew that the next encounter would be even more critical. Humans would have to demonstrate not just survival, but the power to negotiate, the intelligence to strategize, and the courage to lead. The first battle of wits had been won. The next challenge was diplomacy, strategy, and trust. The humans had set the stage, and the aliens, for the first time, were beginning to respect their unpredictable, indomitable spirit. The alien ships remained silent over Earth, but their presence had become almost routine. Humans had grown used to their hovering shadows. Though no one took their attention lightly, Captain Laura Hayes stood in the central command room of the Human Coalition, reviewing the latest reports. It was time to act. The humans had proven their resilience and intelligence, but now they needed to take the next step: negotiation. A signal arrived from the alien flagship, a carefully encoded message that had taken human engineers hours to decode. The translation read simply, "We wish to meet. Prepare your representatives. We are open to dialogue." Laura felt a mix of relief and tension. This was unprecedented. Never before had humanity negotiated with beings so powerful. Every detail would matter: the words, the tone, the approach. There could be no mistakes. She gathered the human delegation: Alex, the young engineer who had outsmarted the aliens before; Maya, a diplomat skilled at reading subtle signals; and several military advisors to ensure security. "We need to show them strength," Laura said, "but also intelligence and reason. This is not a war. They are powerful, but they can be persuaded that cooperation is better than control." The human team boarded a shuttle designed to interface safely with alien systems. As they approached the flagship, Laura noticed the aliens waiting in a chamber lined with smooth, glowing panels. The largest of them stepped forward, tall and radiant, exuding authority. "Humans," the translator announced, "you have shown unexpected intelligence and resilience. We invite dialogue. Your species has qualities we did not fully anticipate." Laura bowed slightly, understanding that diplomacy required both humility and confidence. "We are grateful for this opportunity," she said. "We wish to discuss coexistence, mutual understanding, and ways we can ensure safety for both species." The aliens listened, their large eyes observing every subtle human gesture. Their curiosity was genuine, but so was their caution. They had studied countless species across the galaxy, and few had resisted or challenged them as humans had. Alex spoke next, carefully. "We do not wish conflict, but we cannot be treated as subjects. Humans are capable, independent, and strong. Cooperation, not control, is the only way forward." The alien leader considered his words. "Your species demonstrates adaptability, intelligence, and creativity. These are traits we value, but your defiance was unexpected. We must understand your motivations before further decisions are made." Maya stepped forward, her calm voice carrying authority. "Our motivation is simple: freedom. Every human values autonomy, the ability to make choices, and the right to protect our lives and families. We do not resist for the sake of rebellion. We resist because it is our nature to be free. Understanding that is key to mutual respect, the aliens paused. This was new. Most species they had encountered submitted quickly, either through fear or conditioning. Humans did not submit. They did not yield. And now they spoke with clarity and confidence that challenged the aliens' assumptions about hierarchy, power, and control. For hours, discussions continued. The humans presented evidence of their intelligence, technological innovations, creative solutions, and examples of human cooperation and empathy. The aliens responded with their perspective, sharing insights into the vast civilizations they had encountered and their experiences studying other species. But something was different this time. The aliens were not just observing, they were listening, absorbing, and reconsidering. They began to acknowledge that humans were unique, not merely in physical or intellectual abilities, but in their spirit. That spirit, the drive to survive, to create, to cooperate, was something the aliens had rarely encountered. Outside the chamber, Earth's citizens watched the alien ships with hope and caution. News of the negotiations spread quickly, and people were filled with a mix of fear and optimism. Humanity had survived the first phase of contact. Now they had the opportunity to shape the future. Back inside, tensions rose when a question arose about trust. One alien commander expressed doubt. "Your species is unpredictable. We cannot guarantee control, and yet we are being asked to trust you. How can we be certain you will not act against us?" Laura responded, carefully aware that every word mattered. "Trust is built through understanding and action, not fear. Humans have shown courage and intelligence even under pressure. That is proof of our commitment to reason and cooperation. We cannot promise perfection, but we can promise honesty and effort." Alex added, "We are not seeking advantage over you. We are seeking coexistence. Mutual respect benefits both species. You have power. We have ingenuity. Together we can accomplish things neither of us could alone." The aliens' expressions were difficult to read, but small gestures, tilts of the head, subtle changes in color, indicated that they were processing the human argument seriously. This was the first time humans had not only resisted alien expectations, but had persuaded them to reconsider. A lull fell over the room, heavy with anticipation. Then the largest alien spoke again. "Your arguments are compelling. We have studied dominance for millennia. You show a capacity for reason and cooperation that challenges our assumptions. Perhaps a different approach is warranted. Perhaps we should consider a form of partnership." Maya and Laura exchanged glances, their relief tempered by caution. Partnership did not mean safety, but it was a start. "We are ready to discuss terms," Laura said. "We can establish guidelines, protections, and shared goals. Humanity seeks peace, not submission." The aliens paused again, seemingly consulting among themselves. It was clear that even within their ranks opinions differed. Some saw humans as equals worthy of negotiation. Others still clung to the old view of humans as subjects. But the outcome of the discussion was clear. Humanity had shifted the conversation from control to cooperation. After many hours, the meeting ended with an agreement to continue dialogue. No final treaty was signed yet, but the tone had changed. The aliens had begun to see humans not as pets, but as intelligent, capable, and unpredictable partners. As the human delegation returned to Earth, the team debriefed immediately. "This is just the beginning," Laura said. "They are interested, yes, but they are still cautious. We have to maintain vigilance, continue showing intelligence, and ensure that we never give them reason to doubt our sincerity." Alex smiled. "We've already done more than most species ever could. They expected obedience, they got resistance. And they respect it?" Maya nodded. "Respect, yes, but trust will take longer. Every action we take now matters. Cooperation must be proven through consistent behavior." That evening, as the sun set across the horizon, Captain Hayes looked out over the city. The alien ship still floated silently above, but their presence felt different now. There was a new sense of possibility, a faint but growing hope that humans could negotiate with these beings, not as subjects but as partners. She thought of the future, shared knowledge, collaboration in science and technology, and perhaps even a lasting peace between species. But she also knew that the path would not be easy. Missteps, misunderstandings, or arrogance could undo all progress. Still, humanity had proven something remarkable. They were not predictable, they were not submissive, and they were not to be underestimated. Their ingenuity, courage, and spirit had forced the aliens to reconsider centuries of assumptions about intelligence and hierarchy in the galaxy. And somewhere aboard the alien flagship, the leaders whispered among themselves, "This species is unlike any we have encountered. Perhaps they are not for domination. Perhaps they are for partnership. Perhaps." The sentence ended unspoken, but the meaning was clear. Humanity had survived intimidation, confusion, and control attempts. They had demonstrated intelligence, creativity, courage, and the power of cooperation. And now, for the first time, the aliens were beginning to see humans as something more than subjects, as beings worthy of respect and consideration. The first negotiation had ended, but the real challenge was still ahead. Humans had laid the foundation for dialogue and mutual understanding. The next steps would determine whether peace could be built, whether trust could be earned, and whether humanity could prove itself as equals in a galaxy that had once assumed they were merely pets. Captain Hayes knew this truth more than anyone. Humanity had survived the first contact. They had turned fear into strategy, defiance into diplomacy, and intelligence into influence. The next chapter would test everything they had learned, and for the first time humans were not only surviving, they were shaping the future. The alien flagship hovered silently over Earth, reflecting the light of the rising sun across its smooth metallic surface. Humans had grown accustomed to their presence, but now the purpose of their visit was different. For the first time, the humans were not being observed, they were negotiating. Captain Laura Hayes and her team prepared to return to the alien ship, this time with the clear goal of establishing a formal treaty. Inside the human command center, tension was high. The delegation gathered around the table, reviewing notes and strategies. "We have their attention," Laura said firmly. "They respect us now, but respect does not equal trust. Every word, every gesture, every action must show that we are serious about cooperation." Alex, the young engineer, tapped a tablet. "They're still unpredictable. Some of their commanders want to see humans as equals. Others still see us as potential subjects. We have to convince both sides." Maya nodded. "We must be clear, logical, and sincere. Fear will not work here. We need to demonstrate commitment and capability. If we do it right, this treaty could change everything." The shuttle that carried them to the alien flagship glided smoothly through the air. Inside, the humans felt the familiar hum of alien technology, but it no longer seemed intimidating. They were no longer just subjects to be observed. They were negotiators, representatives of their species. The negotiation chamber was vast, with smooth walls that reflected light in subtle patterns. Alien leaders waited, their forms tall and glowing, their eyes observing every human expression. Captain Hayes stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "We are here to discuss peace, cooperation, and mutual understanding," she began. "Humans value freedom, life, and knowledge. We do not seek conflict. We seek partnership." The largest alien leader regarded her thoughtfully. "Your species demonstrates remarkable intelligence and courage. We have seen acts that are unpredictable, creative, and frankly admirable. Yet trust must be earned. We require guarantees that cooperation will not lead to rebellion or harm." Laura nodded. "We understand. We offer transparency, shared objectives, and open communication. Our goal is mutual benefit. We will establish protocols that protect both humans and aliens. We will demonstrate our commitment through action, not just words." Alex spoke next, highlighting human ingenuity. "We have shown that we can adapt, solve problems, and work together efficiently. Imagine what we could accomplish if our species worked alongside yours rather than under your control." The aliens tilted their heads, exchanging subtle tones and colors. These were indications of discussion among themselves, though humans could only interpret a fraction of their meaning. The humans waited patiently, understanding that the process required observation, persuasion, and respect. Hours passed as discussions deepened. Every point raised by the humans was met with questions from the aliens, probing their intentions and capabilities. Topics ranged from the handling of technology to the exchange of knowledge, from ethical considerations to planetary safety. The aliens wanted to ensure that humans were not only capable of collaboration, but also willing to act with integrity. At one point, a disagreement arose among the alien commanders. Some argued that humans were too unpredictable to be trusted, citing their previous defiance. Others saw value in their creativity and courage, emphasizing that no other species had resisted or impressed them in the way humans had. Laura intervened carefully. We understand your concern. Humans are independent, yes, but independence is not defiance without reason. It is responsibility, creativity, and moral judgment. We are willing to prove this through joint projects, shared missions, and clear communication. Actions will demonstrate our reliability better than words alone, Maya added. We are not asking for blind trust. We are offering a chance to see that cooperation can succeed. Let us work together in a controlled, measurable way. Let us show that mutual benefit is possible. The aliens seemed to consider this. Slowly, the tone of the discussion began to shift. What had begun as a tense negotiation filled with caution and skepticism was evolving into a dialogue based on shared goals and curiosity. After a brief recess, the alien leader spoke again. We are willing to test this approach. A treaty is possible, but it must include clear measures for accountability, shared decision-making, and mutual protection. We will outline conditions and request your agreement. Laura nodded, understanding that this was the critical moment. The humans listened carefully as the aliens presented their terms. They required shared control of research and technology to prevent misuse, transparent communication channels for any disputes or misunderstandings, collaborative missions to demonstrate practical cooperation, mutual protection agreements to ensure neither species harms the other. Each term was strict but fair, designed to protect both sides while allowing humans to retain autonomy. Laura and her team discussed each point, asking questions, clarifying details, and ensuring that nothing compromised human freedom. Hours turned into a full day of negotiation. At times, tensions flared when humans requested modifications to certain terms, and alien commanders expressed concern over potential risks. But every disagreement was met with dialogue, not aggression. Both sides were learning, adapting, and adjusting. Finally, as the first Earth night approached, a tentative agreement was reached. The treaty was not complete. It would require signatures, verification, and follow-up actions, but the framework was established. Humans would work alongside aliens, not as subjects but as partners. Shared missions would begin, oversight protocols would be implemented, and mutual respect was the foundation. Laura felt a surge of relief and pride. Humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had turned what could have been a story of subjugation into an opportunity for cooperation and mutual growth. Alex grinned. We did it. They respect us now. Not just respect. They're willing to work with us as equals. Maya added, This is just the beginning. But it's a strong beginning. We have laid the foundation for lasting peace and collaboration. Outside the chamber, humans watched the alien ships with cautious optimism. The first tentative steps toward a true treaty were underway. There was still much to do, but the tone had changed. Fear had been replaced by possibility, uncertainty by dialogue, and potential conflict by cooperation. Even aboard the alien flagship, the commanders who had doubted humans began to reconsider. This species, they are not simple, one admitted. They are capable, intelligent, and courageous. Perhaps our assumptions were wrong. Perhaps they are not for control, but for partnership. The first cooperative mission was scheduled for the following week. Humans and aliens would work together to study a natural phenomenon in a remote region. The mission would test the humans' capabilities, the aliens' trust, and the strength of the emerging treaty. It was a high-stakes opportunity for both species to prove that collaboration could succeed. Laura stood on the observation deck, looking at the alien ships glowing against the night sky. She reflected on how far humanity had come, from being studied as pets to being recognized as capable partners. The journey was not over, but they had taken the first crucial steps. The humans had shown intelligence, courage, adaptability, and integrity. They had transformed fear into strategy, defiance into diplomacy, and unpredictability into influence. And now, as the first actions under the treaty were about to begin, they would demonstrate that humanity was ready to shape its own destiny, not as subjects, but as equals. Somewhere in the alien command chambers, the leader spoke quietly. They have proven something we rarely see: resilience, ingenuity, and a sense of morality. Perhaps cooperation is not just possible, it is necessary. Perhaps they are our partners in this universe. The treaty talks ended with hope, caution, and anticipation. Humanity had survived intimidation and confusion. They had negotiated their place among the stars and earned the first measure of respect from a species far more advanced. The next stage would test their cooperation, resolve, and ingenuity. But for the first time, humans were not simply surviving, they were leading, shaping, and proving their worth. The night ended with the city below calm and the alien ships above glowing softly. Humanity had achieved the impossible. They had moved from being observed to being recognized. The first treaty framework was in place, and both humans and aliens were preparing for the next chapter, a chapter that would test trust, courage, and collaboration in ways no one could yet imagine. The first mission under the new treaty began at dawn. Captain Laura Hayes and her team, alongside the alien delegates, boarded a specially designed shuttle to a remote region where a unique energy phenomenon had been detected. The humans were both excited and nervous. This mission was more than scientific exploration. It was a test of trust, cooperation, and the strength of the treaty they had painstakingly negotiated. Remember, Laura reminded her team, every action we take represents all of humanity. We need to show intelligence, respect, and collaboration. Mistakes could set us back decades. Alex, ever the optimist, checked the shuttle's interface. We've got this. We've already proven that humans can adapt and solve problems. Let's show them again. Maya quietly nodded, scanning the alien delegates as they took their seats. The aliens' expressions were unreadable, but the subtle shifts in their color patterns indicated cautious curiosity. This was the first time humans and aliens would work together side by side, not as captives and observers, but as partners. The shuttle lifted smoothly from Earth's surface. As they ascended, the team could see the alien ships hovering silently above the cities below. The world watched, holding its breath. Humanity had negotiated a treaty, but this mission would show whether words could become action. Upon arrival at the site, a vast valley shimmering with strange energy waves, both species disembarked carefully. Humans took samples, recorded measurements, and documented everything meticulously. The aliens observed and assisted, their advanced technology complementing human ingenuity. At first, there was hesitation. Humans and aliens had different methods and perspectives. One alien attempted to manipulate the energy field using a device that humans did not fully understand, while humans proposed a solution based on observation and logic. For a tense moment, it seemed the two approaches might conflict. Laura stepped forward. Let's combine our methods, she suggested calmly. Your technology, our understanding of patterns. Together we can succeed. The alien leader considered this, then nodded. Subtle color shifts ran across their body, a sign of agreement and approval. It was the first moment where collaboration truly became apparent. Humans and aliens began working together, blending intuition with precision. Hours passed as they explored the valley. Humans discovered subtle fluctuations in the energy field that had gone unnoticed by alien instruments. Their observations helped the aliens adjust their devices, stabilizing the area and allowing for accurate data collection. It was a moment of revelation for both species. Human creativity complemented alien technology perfectly. Alex laughed quietly. I never thought I'd be saving alien science with my ideas. Feels good, doesn't it? Maya smiled, though her focus remained sharp. It's more than good. It's proof that cooperation works. This is what we negotiated for. Even the alien delegates seemed impressed. One spoke through the translator, its tone filled with curiosity. Your species has a unique approach. You see possibilities where we see patterns. This strengthens our understanding. As the sun began to set over the valley, the team faced a challenge. A sudden surge of energy erupted from the field, unpredictable and potentially dangerous. Alien instruments alone could not contain it, and humans needed to act quickly. Laura assessed the situation and coordinated a combined effort. Humans and aliens worked side by side, humans using creativity and quick thinking, aliens using precision and technology. Alex manipulated a device to redirect energy safely, while Maya instructed teams to adjust sensors. The alien leaders synchronized their equipment with human actions. Slowly, the surge was contained. The danger passed. When the energy stabilized, silence filled the valley. For a moment, neither humans nor aliens spoke. Then Laura exhaled, a mix of relief and triumph. We did it, she said simply. Together. The alien leader's eyes, or what humans interpreted as eyes, shifted in color. The translator rendered a simple statement. Together. Your species? Remarkable. It was a milestone. Not only had they completed the mission safely, but they had also proven that cooperation could overcome challenges that neither species could face alone. It was the first tangible success under the treaty. Back aboard the alien flagship, the delegation debriefed with other commanders. Reports highlighted human ingenuity, courage, and the ability to act under pressure. The aliens who had doubted humans were now beginning to accept them as equals, capable of making decisions that benefited both species. Laura addressed her team. This mission shows that treaties are not just words, they are actions. Humans have proven themselves as partners, but this is only the beginning. We need to maintain trust, continue collaborating, and demonstrate integrity every day. Alex nodded. His usual grin softened with seriousness. We've shown them we're capable. Now we have to keep showing them. Maya added, trust grows through consistency. We must respect the treaty and each other's methods. Every step counts. The humans returned to Earth greeted by cheers and celebrations. People from around the world watched as news spread. Humanity had not only survived first contact but had successfully cooperated with a far more advanced species. The alien ships, once symbols of fear and domination, were now partners in a new era of discovery and diplomacy. Even on the alien flagship, commanders were taking notes and adjusting their perception of humanity. They are not only capable, one said, they are responsible, creative, and trustworthy. Perhaps we misjudge the value of independence in a species. It may be the key to coexistence. Over the following weeks, humans and aliens continued joint missions, studying phenomena, exchanging knowledge, and building protocols for cooperation. Each success reinforced the treaty and strengthened the relationship. Humanity was no longer a species to be observed. They were partners, contributing unique skills and perspectives. Laura reflected on how far they had come. From the initial contact, where humans were seen as mere subjects, to the successful negotiation, and now the first missions together, it was a remarkable transformation. Humans had shown courage, intelligence, and moral integrity in ways that changed the aliens' assumptions. One evening, standing on a cliff overlooking the valley where the first mission had taken place, Laura spoke to her team. Humanity has proven something incredible. That intelligence is not just about technology, power, or speed. It is about creativity, courage, collaboration, and the ability to adapt. That is what sets us apart. Alex looked at the alien ships above, now softly glowing under the twilight sky. And we've shown them that humans are worth trusting. That's powerful, isn't it? Maya nodded. It's more than powerful. It's a new beginning. One species taught the other respect, and now we have the chance to learn together. The aliens, observing from above, were silent for a moment. Then, through the translator, came a statement that carried weight beyond words. We underestimated you. You have proven your worth. The treaty stands. Cooperation begins. It was a declaration of trust, partnership, and recognition. For the first time, humans and aliens were on equal footing, ready to explore the universe together. Fear had been replaced by respect and domination by dialogue. Humanity had not only survived first contact, they had transformed it. In the following months, joint missions expanded to other regions, exploring planets, studying phenomena, and sharing knowledge. Humans learned from alien technology, and aliens learned from human creativity and adaptability. Both species benefited, and a new era of collaboration began to take shape. Laura watched as humans and aliens worked side by side, solving problems, exchanging ideas, and building trust. She knew that this was only the beginning. Challenges would come, but now humans were not alone. They had allies who respected them, and they had shown that humanity's greatest strengths lay not in submission or obedience, but in courage, intelligence, and the ability to work together. As night fell, the alien ships glowed softly over Earth, no longer symbols of fear but of hope. Humanity had taken the first steps into a broader universe, not as subjects but as equals. The journey ahead was long, full of unknowns and challenges. But for the first time, humans faced it with partners, knowledge, and the certainty that they had proven their worth. Captain Laura Hayes smiled. The world had changed and humanity had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. They had faced a test, overcome fear, and shown that the human spirit could not be underestimated. The treaty had been signed, the first mission had succeeded, and a new chapter had begun. Humanity and aliens were now collaborators, explorers, and equals in a universe full of mysteries. The future was uncertain, but it was bright, and for the first time humans truly belonged among the stars.